Evening, everybody. Happy St. Patrick's Day to those who are observing and who aren't out at a bar right now. Congratulations. Well, I can see there are a lot of you. Well done. Evening, everybody. So yes, we are back. It's another Final Fantasy Tactics Retrospective. I'm your host, as always, Brian, and my current panel are Martel. How are you doing, Martel?
Glad to be here.
And Polparkivist. What's up?
Good evening, everyone.
We are ecstatic to have these two gentlemen with us, just full of insights and Greek yogurt, but that's another story. Over in chat, we've got Raul Nyanzi, John Dacre, the Mixed GM, and Simon Ogwood. Howdy, fellas. We're going to get into some more 2.5D tactics and advance the plot toward getting Cloud. Won't that be fun?
Right.
And Cloud's huge-ass sword. So, I'm just going to dive in. Oh, look at this. We have a choice. We can choose the south wall of Bethel Garrison or the north wall of Bethel Garrison. And I'm glad I think someone else just joined because I want all the input I can get on this. Hey, Emperor Eb, how you doing?
Oh. What do you need me to assess?
Oh, your avatar blinked. How you doing that? Or am I hallucinating?
Gift magic. No, gift magic.
Okay. Oh, wow, the frequency's increasing. Anyway. Okay, we're about to storm Bethel Garrison. Now, it looks like we're coming from the north, but it's giving us the option of besieging the south wall or the north wall.
Alright, is there a difference in win condition?
I can't remember. Let's see if there's any info here. So, south wall, southern rampart which surrounds Bethel Garrison, which is known to be impregnable. There is an office which a sentry may be stationed in. North wall, the rampart which surrounds Bethel Garrison runs 7,000 doma. I'm just gonna. So that means feet.
Is that like a stadia?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, we could probably figure it out because there are other, like, there are mountain heights and distances listed in Doma, but I'm not sure. But,
Well,
look,
consider,
yeah, go
What
ahead.
does the south wall say again?
Oh, and by the way, really quick,
well,
the north wall is where they take in food, or where they store food and weapons. Here's the south wall again.
yes, that's something tells me that this being a video game where little quotes like that matter, you get stuff if you can get through the forces and win. Like items, I think, is what they're implying.
Aha.
I don't know if it works like that or not, but I would think this being that type of game, that would be true. My U.S. Army Ranger spirit says do the south wall. It's the hardest wall. They don't expect you to just come through and be Ranger and say, hello, I'm here to kill you. I came through the hardest way just to kill you.
Well, I do think we're not expected to actually take and keep any ground here, so this would technically be a commando raid.
Yeah, the way that they say there is an office where a sentry may be stationed implies that it's going to be more about just getting through the gate.
Yeah, it sounds exactly why you would do the hard thing, because no one's going to be there thinking you did the hard thing.
But yeah, if you go north, you can smash up the supplies and everything.
Yeah,
If this is just a straight raid.
yeah, the logistical superiority there.
Okay, it sounds like we're pretty...
As if that matters in in a JRPG, I should say.
Yes, like logistic matters when you can grind infinite credits or
Mhm.
gills. Um, I want I like the U.S. Ranger methodology, which is go do the hard side because no one expects us to be there.
Yeah, chat would seem to agree. It's looking pretty unanimous for North. Although, did you have another
All right.
2 cents there, Martel?
Nope.
Okay.
I'm pretty much had the right of it, I think.
Cool, alright, we're doing this. North wall. Here we go. I'm going in. John Dacre says, build a big, beautiful wall and make the leader pay for it. Oh, he's going to pay. Don't think he won't pay. We'll see. Okay, so I got... looks like one squad. Yeah, definitely going to need a ninja for this.
Yeah. I see chat's argument that North is a good play.
And I'm just going to do a V formation. Let's just do that. Oh, I'm excited. Can you feel the electricity, chat?
What are...
Looks like you were right.
Yep.
Okay, looks like, what do we got? There's a monk on the ground. It's just a straight monk. Of course, we've got archers. Oh, they've got a summoner. And then 2 lancers.
Ruh-roh.
Yeah, we need to get that guy. So aside his multiple...
I liked the.
Yeah.
I don't want to distract you. Just the Ace Combat games have a notoriety in almost every mission in one of the Ace Combat games you play. You have demonstrating the superiority of air power on any big fortress that was designed to hold up from all ground attacks, but one crazy ace pilot decides to knock out all the AA and then just wreck face on your ground assets.
Well, I'm gonna get him. So let's try height 3. Silent song. Ooh, no. I can get the monk and a lancer. So that's too specific. Let's just... don't activate, don't move. Just try stop. See if this does the trick. Come on, stop him. Yeah! 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Oh, is that CL?
Nope.
Oh.
No one's joined the panel so far.
Oh, I thought I heard something. Okay.
Yeah, he just messaged that he'll be here in a few minutes.
Okay.
Ah.
After this, I gotta remember to get some items to make Agrios faster, because, man, she's slow. I would dig this music too. You guys hearing that? Let me turn it up. I don't know how many of you guys saw either in Discord or in chat, but I did a blog post kind of as a summa of the Owen Cyclops thread that you turned me on to last night.
How did you like that?
I liked the content of it, but man, he needs an editor. But
He's a Twitter threader.
Oracles, man, okay?
Right.
They are what they are.
They are, and yeah, he connected a lot of dots. Just gave really more evidence for what I've already suspected for a while. Like, he's preaching to the choir in terms of telling me that, well, the alien phenomena are really demons. Like, yeah, I mean, clearly. Once you start looking into it. I have looked into the Dave Plitus, like, missing 401 stuff, and I've got to differ with Owen on that. I find Plitus to be pretty griftery. Because his usual pitch is like, okay, they were in the woods, and he was with his 4-year-old son, and he was tromping along behind him, and then he turned his back, and the kid was gone. And to find out why, you've got to, like, buy my book or rent my video, and then the video just gives you a little more, but ends on a cliffhanger too and doesn't resolve anything, and then it, like, everything just leads back to his books. And yes, I realize that I too have set up marketing to buy my books. For example, the link to buy Combat Frame X Seed RPG is in the show notes below, but I try to make my hooks at least modestly satisfying to the audience first. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I've seen what you've been doing. On the kidnapping element, I would buy Underground Shenanigans, because there was a convenient map I saw once of all the caves in North America, and most of the people going missing near most of the cave structures. And that's a better theory than anything else I've heard of about abductions.
Well, friend of the yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say that if people, raised in the suburbs and especially the cities, forget just how dangerous the wild can be.
Mm-hmm.
Like, things can go wrong very fast, and they will never find the body. And there doesn't even have to be any foul play.
Oh yeah, the forest.
So,
Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, no, there are all sorts of ways to die that don't involve a single living thing.
Yeah, and the
Like, really
forest
just
is basically
Lie down a hill, break your leg, and starve to death.
yeah, and then the forest is an organic decomposition machine. It'll strip a corpse
Yep.
faster than a car parked in downtown Detroit.
Yeah, and good one. But thanks to good old Teddy Roosevelt, we have quite a lot of basically pristine land. And in a country as big as ours, with as high of a population as ours, there's going to be all sorts of people who just go missing. I'm not entirely ruling out foul play, because it's just that it's really hard to prove anything.
Well, one theory favored by a friend of the show, Chris Cordham, and also myself, is that a lot of these folks are stumbling onto grow ops run by feral hippies who've been living out there for generations. And we're not just entirely talking off the cuff here, because I've made no secret of this before. My dad is former law enforcement from a pretty rural area, so he's got some stories.
Yeah, I remember reading a thing the other day. There was some book about a couple of kids who got run over by a train in Arkansas back in the 80s or 90s. And the PI that the families hired to investigate basically concluded that they had been killed after stumbling onto a probably CIA-linked cocaine smuggling operation used by picking up drops from propeller planes flying low, and then they used the train to, expose the evidence.
Actually, yeah, there's something that correlates straight to that. It was a big, I don't remember, it was a show or something, and it was somewhere, it was on the East Coast, south of the big cities, like in the Carolinas or something. I think South Carolina, maybe north. No, it was south. And it was a good old boys family that have been running like one county for years. Like the family had set it up, but of course, the shirt sleeves in 3 generations. The 3rd generation was basically finally got caught and exposed. But one tidbit that correlates to Martell that showed up in that, there was one house that seemed to have, since I'm learning piloting in Cessna, it would be perfect for soft field Cessna landings and such, and it was remote enough, like enough acres and 100 or something, that no one would know that it's landing there doing VFR, visual flight rules, takeoffs and landings. So yeah, I've heard of what Martell says from another totally unrelated data point.
Yeah, I got family in the Ozarks, and they always say that they never said CIA, but they were always talking about hidden, hidden drugs in the hidden drugs in the forests and the mountains. So,
well, you've got big enough lakes there. Pontoon boats could sneak in if you wanted to, bounce from one lake to another, like from out of state, and then come in and land in there, refuel because gas is cheap, or well, you could get your hands on jet fuel and then just send the plane right back out.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would correlate too, though. I do know from some state patrol stuff I have heard of, I-80 corridor and then I-70 particularly, which goes through and is north of the Ozarks, are some of the most high traffic areas for lots of illiteracy movement.
Yeah. Out on the other side of the Mississippi, I think I-25 is the single biggest artery for human and drug trafficking in the U.S. And that one runs pretty much from Mexico to Canada through the Arizona, Colorado, Wyoming, and which one's the one north of Wyoming?
Montana, I think?
Sure. Yeah.
Or Idaho. Or no, I think it's Montana.
Go and figure. I can point to Königsberg on a map with my hands, which state's above Wyoming.
Yeah, it's Montana.
Okay. And in the chat, we've got Chan saying that hippies should be purged and replaced with honest farmers. Honestly, it could have just cut out everything after and I would have agreed.
Yep.
Raul and Yancey saying much of the Wild West is still wild. You got that right.
Yeah, I agree. We only have interstate access to a ton of that wildness, but after you're how many miles from the interstate, it's not much different than it was before the interstate even came along.
Yeah. Terrence says European tourists, particularly Germans, must always underestimate the Canadian wilderness wildlife. Yeah, Europeans have been urbanized. And really, they haven't had wild since the 15 or 1600s. And then John Dacre says, I think there are multiple things going on in the woods, some natural and some that might be supernatural, which is also completely possible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
co-sign that.
Lots of crazy in our history.
Well, speaking
And
of...
there are some reliable accounts from the wild that are profoundly unnatural, for sure.
Yeah, there's more out there than big cats and hippies and bears. But to tie together what Empereb was saying a bit earlier about rangers, there was a famous case, I think it was Dennis Martin, a young kid. His dad took him to a state park in the Smoky Mountains in Tennessee. I think it was like Smoky Mountain National Park, and kid was playing hide and seek, like was last seen around a lilac bush in the middle of a big field, and it was like the only cover for like 100 feet around, and just disappeared. They never found him, but for some reason the Army Rangers came in to search the area, and like to this day no one is really sure why. And they didn't cooperate with any of the park rangers, local cops, or the FBI investigators that came in.
Maybe they had a bioweapons dump concealed in the area.
Where was this?
I think Smoky Mountain Park, Tennessee.
Interesting. There's been stuff that, Afghanistan, there's been people who are SF that have done stuff basically because they have the connections, even though the current people didn't want people to get out of Afghanistan. Still, people who have the capability and training, like rangers, who would have mountain training, they just went in and knew how to get people out. Wouldn't be surprising. Maybe there was a favor pulled and it was someone knew someone, and well, they didn't cooperate with anyone, and they knew the right person to tell, sorry everyone, including FBI, you don't get to know what happened. We did our training and we got out.
Yeah. Just digging into the case, one thing that came up is that one of the Rangers' core missions is like going into a third world country and like helping to train the locals to fight off like the local commies or whatnot. And
That's SF.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
SF.
Okay.
Rangers is they can get in the green beanies do that, but Rangers have the ability to basically get into an area as light infantry, and their ability is to get in the most roughest of spots through the most roughest of ways, just to get the HVT. Usually they make them go boom boom, but they could do an distraction like a PJs after they boom boom everyone else.
okay.
Green Berets are one of 2 units in the Army with training as their explicit mission.
Yeah.
Interesting.
The other one is the boot camps in various schools.
Yeah. So it sounds like, Brian, what if they were pulling someone out, which that's the only thing I can understand from the information, they could be doing that. They were actually doing a PJ role of all things, because PJs are literally, that's their whole mission profile, is to get pilots who usually might get in bad areas and get them out.
Yeah, that's
But
interesting because
it might have been easier to get Rangers.
Yeah, the Rangers did come in via helicopter as well, if I remember correctly. It could just be...
They have fast rope training along with their airborne, so they would just fast rope.
Also, mountains.
Mhm.
Yep.
Helicopters are useful.
Yeah, our Chinook pilots have gotten really good mountain training, piloting. Like, you've seen some of the pictures that they've backed off a Chinook and literally just have the lip on the edge of a cliff, and people are loading and unloading.
Brief pause in the conversation. Looks like we've got another panelist.
Hey, introduce yourself.
No, please keep talking about helicopters doing cool things and cryptids. I'm listening with glee.
Oh, okay. I think I can wet your whistle. Let's see, helicopters and cryptids. Okay. Well, there was the giant snake that, like, a flight of Hueys claimed to see back in Vietnam, back during the war.
How giant is giant?
Like, we're talking it was undulating through the trees, and its coils could be seen breaking the canopy. So, this also would fit kaiju cryptid territory.
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up. Southeast Asia giant snake. Have you heard of the giant rock in Thailand, which through sheer coincidence happens to look exactly like a giant snake turned to stone?
No.
No. But I could see that being real.
Yeah, it's in some national park. Here are a couple of the photos I have. Just gonna post that in the chat.
I mean, I was in Bangkok to help with a missions thing long ago, and the amount of just pure vegetation that still gets into a downtown dirty Bangkok of 15 million makes me believe a lot of stuff could be stuffed in the still unspoiled stuff around it.
Yeah.
There was an
those are a
aside.
couple of the photos from it. And supposedly it's just pure coincidence that this rock happens to look exactly like a giant snake that was turned to stone.
Oh, it really does.
Yeah.
Oh, you've shown me these ones before.
Yep.
I've seen this before. It's funny you mentioned Vietnam. There's an aside in Mothman Prophecies talking about a harpy sighting in a unit during the Vietnam War. I just saw like a naked flying woman pass low over their position and then off over the tree line.
Had they been eating the bright red centipedes crawling all over them?
Quite possible.
Why, what's wrong with those?
They're the size of your arm.
Mm.
Oh yeah, I've seen those. I was just wondering, are they like
I don't know
hallucinogenic?
centipedes when they're smaller than that.
Oh yeah. Okay.
But, it can't be good for you.
Hmm.
And centipedes are poisonous.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
The centipede is a predator.
Actually, yeah, John Dacre brings up. What was the was it Typhon that the Medusa turned to stone?
Not sure. I'm looking
In the
something up.
myth with Perseus.
No, Typhon was he was an older creature. He was the dude that had snakes for hands,
Oh yeah,
Okay.
you would know.
which is why I gave the mech the finger lasers.
Right.
Good call, by the way. On the finger lasers.
Okay, no, it was a sea serpent named Cetus.
Hmm.
Huh.
Oh yeah, because it's they replace him with the Kraken in the movies, but yeah, check this out.
Fascinating. Giant snake turned to stone in an instant.
Yep.
Of course, then you have the multiple
Absolutely
accounts of
fascinating.
American forces encountering and doing battle with, for want of a better term, little Bigfoots in Vietnam. Like, the supposed pitched battle with barbed wire and sandbags and machine guns and everything against wave after wave of ape men that came charging our guys out of the woods for like hours. Oh, and it was the Marines. Okay. And apparently the fighting went
Yeah,
to...
myths about. No, go ahead.
No, apparently the fighting went down to the knife eventually.
Yeah, well, they do have myths in Vietnam about like forest men or whatever that are basically little Bigfoots, whatever the plural is.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing here.
And there's lots of accounts of giant skeletons being found during the age of archaeology in the Americas.
Oh yeah, like that cave in I think Utah. They found 7-foot tall skeletons with
Yeah.
double rows of teeth.
And then the Smithsonian's like, let's hang on to those for you. And then the Smithsonian's like, what? No, we don't have giant skeletons.
Yeah. Even though they have a literal lawsuit that confirmed now. I don't know when it was in some big thing recently, but 2014 or something around there. They have a legal case saying, yeah, we might have actually destroyed things we're not supposed to, technically.
Like that sunken city they found off of India.
Oh, yeah, that one fits the profile of multiple things, including a super civilization that was everywhere and sailed a lot.
You've also got that FOIA request for the location of the Resurrection Chamber of Gilgamesh and the location of the buried Nephilim.
Yeah, from a...
Which, code or not, is interesting.
Yeah, and also from a possible, even likely alias of Hillary Clinton's or one of her staffers.
You want to get really you want to know something really interesting?
Yes, always.
So, Doggerland, about 8,000 years ago or so, or more like 10,000 years ago, where the Earth was a lot cooler than it is now, so there was a lot more land in Europe.
Yes.
If you turn your head, does that look kind of like Middle Earth to you?
Our resident, may he rest in peace, J.R. Tolkien, did look at a lot of that stuff when he was considering that.
Yeah.
And he might have had better access to stuff than we can even Google these days. Because he was in one of the biggest and had access to some of the biggest
Which would put Numenor right out around one of the deepest parts of the ocean.
Well, and remember, Middle Earth maps are oriented westward, not to the north like ours. Wow. Look at that. So yeah, so if you rotated this 90 degrees to the left, it would be perfect.
Yep.
Sweet. Oh, by the way, I found it.
Which would put Mordor in... Oh, no. CL. You realize that this would put Mordor in Switzerland.
well,
I would not be surprised by that fact at all.
yeah.
Mount... Oh, crap. They built Mount Cern right underneath Mount Doom.
Well, what do you know? Well, what do you know? That the next, both Tolkien and why am I blanking? C.S. Lewis kind of espoused a feeling that I think Absolution of Man or Abolition of Man by C.S. Lewis is like sums up both of their feelings in the sense of what is happening to all of humanity.
Once again, I think I'm the only one here who's read that hideous story.
I've read Abolition of Man.
Okay.
I've read Hideous Strength.
Okay.
By the
Yeah.
way,
Forget 1984 Brave New World. That's the thing that's predicted the future.
probably.
That darn I forget the name of it, but that room.
The objective room. Yeah. Oh, more biological weapons.
Probably the same ones, yeah. It's probably what that dude was spreading. But by the way, so I found the video that contains both the giant snake account and the harpy with pictures of them both. So that big. There's your reference.
It's fascinating in Mothman Prophecy is just how many like large bird sightings there are. Like nothing extraterrestrial, just like, yeah, we were down by the creek and there was this giant bird and it chased our car for a bit and then went away. It was the darndest thing.
There was a famous one like 20 minutes drive from me back in the 70s. Kid in Danville, Illinois was out playing hide and seek with his cousin when, according to him and his friend and his mom, a giant black bird with like a gray or white ruff around its neck swooped down, grabbed him by the shoulders, and actually carried him like 100 feet before letting him go. Even still had like claw marks. He's still alive too. Like I saw an interview with him from like the late aughts.
From chat. Bradford Walker. CERN, willfully ignoring the point of don't invent the torment since forever.
I think that's on their letterhead.
Well, I've heard. Yeah, I've actually heard. If we want to continue this cryptids, occult, and Stranger Things, not the show, discussion, that CERN's already reset the timeline 4 times because they have not liked the results, like nuclear war. So they've had to reset it 3 to 4 times already right now.
Oh, is that why things have been getting progressively more insane?
Yes, that is literally why.
Reality itself is fraying at the seams.
Yes, and the problem is, though, they want, of course, the one timeline not that doesn't have nuclear war. There's plenty of those. They want the one that still maintains the system they have, and they're finding it's hard to get no nuclear war and maintain existence.
Oh. I'm between the human sacrifice, which was quote-unquote debunked as being a prank because the people involved said it was a prank, and that tunnel opening ceremony that they did.
Oh yes, that one was
It's just
yeah. Well, your European tax dollars at work. But yes, supposedly the timeline, which I really find funny that I can't remember the one anime sort of pretended the whole timeline thing, but I'm starting to realize, did the Japanese just do it again, take some crazy possible theory and then make their own anime version of it that seems, well, more reasonable the more you see craziness. Steins Gate, yes, Steins Gate. I thought Steins Gate was just kind of making fun and used CERN with an S for just the joke. Now I'm going, no, they did their crazy research again and made it a thing. Darn it.
Oh, things are getting real again in the game. Uh-oh. So the guy on top, that's Prince Larg. He's one of the 2 main claimants for the Regency. And then those are Reinhardt's 2 brothers with him.
uh-oh.
What?
Famous last words.
The giveaway was saying, "This is not good. You're getting better."
Yeah.
Oh, now he's accusing him of killing his and Reinhardt's dad.
Oh.
Yeah, funny how Reinhardt's dad died of a mysterious respiratory illness. At a convenient time.
I've seen that before.
Wow. Dude, that sequence right there was almost SNK worthy. That hemorrhagic blood spray. Wow. You're not going to see that in another Final Fantasy for a while.
True.
Yep.
Yeah, it's gory, but I'm a horror guy. I admire the artistry of it. It wasn't like Tarantino excess. It was just enough.
Oof.
Okay, so
Yeah, I saw the.
yeah. He's denying offing his dad. Okay.
I got that at least.
It was a prank.
Did you poison? Oh,
Ah, yes, the official narrative.
Oh, wow. Now they're setting up one of their own dead soldiers.
I mean, why not? It's not like they're going to say otherwise.
That's right,
Bradford
Bedford.
Walker summed it up. The Duke is dead. Long live the Duke.
Here, here.
And Mega Buster Shepard saying Stern is Dark Mechanicus confirmed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Yep.
and if we were ruled by a Slim, then yeah.
Ooh, looks like they're throwing me right into another battle.
Of course. All right.
Of course.
Oh, the plot is actually advancing.
Okay, yeah, he doesn't need to be that fast. He needs more HP.
Yeah, there are a lot of things in the world which are just plain weird.
Amen.
I have a story with a squirrel and a bicycle that is very weird.
Awesome. Do tell.
Well, there was this path, the city I used to, when I was a teenager, one of my friends was what would be a really short car ride, but a decent bicycle ride away. But the town had spent money, one of the few good things, it spent money on bike trails. Not those silly bike lanes, no, real bike trails like poured concrete bike trails. And so I could use that to get to my friend without having to deal with cars. So I had just gotten off kind of the avenue that started with the trail, and it had a good sidewalk to that trail. But anyway, so I start on it. I'm like halfway down the main trail part before I have to get off, and a squirrel decides to shoot out, like always, in front of a moving vehicle, 2 or 4-wheeled, powered or not, and bangs my front tire twice.
Oof.
So I tried to shoo it with my left foot. It came from the left side. But the squirrel decides to achieve only what a rodent of its capabilities of ninja-like abilities, and is able to somehow leap, backflip all the way onto my shoulder.
Oh, fun.
And we have the briefest of exchanges of just I going, why are you here? And he's going, why are you here? And then I immediately just react like a human would and try to shake it off. And I stopped and looked for him after I stopped after this. And I didn't see him, but I went, how in the world did the squirrel decide to just give me this look of like, why? And I'm going, why?
See, I deal with squirrels all the time, and not just in my role-playing games. Because I'm well acquainted with the squirrels in my neighborhood, and yeah, they're capable of some amazing feats. Like every once in a while,
Yeah, I can believe it.
I'll see one. Like one time I saw one who clearly knew he wasn't being observed, but he had a stick, really a section of a tree limb, like about broom handle thick, or like rolling pin thick. There you go, and a little less than a foot long, and he was like wrestling with it, throwing it against a tree, like doing triangle jumps off a tree to do like atomic power bombs on it, doing like kung fu attacks and whatnot for like 10-20 minutes. It was fascinating.
Yeah, as weird as that sounds, I could believe them doing it. I've seen YouTube videos from some big YouTube channels of just setting up a Rube Goldberg squirrel obstacle course, and eventually they actually literally go through the whole thing, or
Yeah,
find a better way.
yeah, I saw those too.
Yeah, their intelligence is different than dogs, but I don't know. I think I'd put it on a par with some dogs. Like they know. I do trust in the squirrels. Like their chipmunks around here, I just hand feed. They'll come right up to you. Like they're so greedy that they cannot resist food. Do not use this for evil.
If Chan in the chat is asking, pray tell, what is the next game after Activate?
I don't really have one planned. Just whatever strikes my fancy. Oh, convenient. So we just need to open the floodgate on this dam.
If you're on hiatus for a bit, might be the excuse I need to do a Three Houses stream.
Well, there you go, chat. Yeah, that's your opening. Grab it.
Marcel, I'm sure you'd be down for Three Houses.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So I was working on my new little VTuber avatar, what I now have.
Oh no.
Yeah, dig it.
No.
Oh yes.
Elite?
Yeah.
Wait, it's actually a Velates.
I mean, that was the inspiration. If I ever actually like animated it and got whatever the like face tracking stuff is, I think I would put all of the expressions on the wolf's head and not on the actual human face.
Uh-huh.
Because I had two designs for the wolf's head, and one of them, the one you see, has the open eyes, and the other one just had two X's.
But I'm just not finding a good combination here. Come on. There are variable combos that will inevitably let me hit them.
Yeah. Okay, someone in chat thinks that Edelgard is bad. Someone in chat is wrong. Edelgard did nothing wrong.
Someone on the internet is wrong! Stop everything!
I know. It's a shock.
But I was promised that
Don't
Universal...
finish up my 3 house playthroughs.
I'd probably run through Black Eagles again for the stream because I know I like that story. And I never get tired of seeing Edelgard doing nothing wrong.
Yep. Ah, good.
Yep. So in the flying experience today, Catholic, I actually was able to have a pretty good flight with another flight instructor, and I guess I'm at the point now the plane is somewhat more of a thing. I understand where it's going and can put it down. We did have an interesting time though when we came into one runway after we had listened to the weather and we thought the runway was fine, and then we were like almost max input crosswind controls and we come down, and then we were both looking and going, yeah, we need to do the other runway at this point.
Oh yeah, those little planes will get pushed all over the place.
Oh,
It's always a fun time.
a funny thing I saw actually at the FBO, and kind of more chat related, there was a bunch of hunters stacking up into a bigger turboprop. I think it could hold like up to 18 people, single engine but big turboprop engine, and yeah, they could just walk on and put their rifles on, just like that charter life is quite different from the TSA cursed experience.
Yeah. Speaking of crosswinds, the Germans back in the days of Zeppelin, so very early 20th century, they actually built a gigantic revolving hangar so that they could always launch their Zeppelins into a headwind.
That's a fantastic design.
Yep.
I mean, some of our buildings in downtown New York were designed for having docking capabilities with Zeppelins. There was
In a better world.
Alright guys, we need to take control of CERN and find that timeline.
a timeline with, I can't remember, Captain whatever and Tomorrow had a basically like
Sky Captain.
the MCU carrier in it, but it had, yeah, Sky Captain in the World Tomorrow, but it had like the steampunk planes mixed with the Zeppelin tech and all of that. It was just, that was so cool.
Yes.
I mean, diesel punk planes and Zeppelins.
We not only need to bring back airships, we need to bring back airship carriers and airship piracy.
Yes. Just a swashbuckling moment above a thunderstorm tornado producing storm and fighting between two Zeppelins, like the final scene in the Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest.
Exactly.
That has to happen.
Guys only want one thing, and it's something disgusting.
I'm writing down notes for book 2, which will prominently feature Zeppelin during the first half.
I can't wait.
Do you know about the historical event where Zeppelin privateering actually happened?
Go on.
Yeah, during World War I, a Zeppelin actually boarded and captured a ship in the North Sea.
That just sounds so cool. It needs its own book.
That's up there with the cavalry that captured a ship when the lake froze, or the bay froze over.
Yes. The Dutch. So incompetent that they lost their ships to a cavalry charge.
Was it the Polish cavalry charge?
Nope. French.
Oh, yeah, that would be the other ones.
Yep.
Mega Bustard Shepherd, go back and tell the Archduke not to take a tour of Serbia, and maybe we'd get our airships back.
Boys with time machines.
Yes. Right above, Bradford Walker says, the tech exists today to make commercial airships travel viable. If doing so is cheaper than keeping the airliners going, then it will happen. Yes, but no. Actually, the airlines have an interesting financial asset vehicle. Like most companies, their airline service is now, at best, a profit maker, at worst, a loss leader. Because, like everything, you either become a service or a financial institution service. Their points, rewards, credit card schemes are actually worth more to many of them, and are bigger in many ways than their airline divisions.
Oh, here's the story. The only instance during World War I of an airship capturing a merchant vessel occurred April 23rd, 1917, when the German Zeppelin L-23 descended on the civilian Norwegian schooner Royal off the Danish coast. At the airship's approach, the crew abandoned the Royal in boats, and the Zeppelin made a water landing to capture them. The ship turned out to be carrying pit props, a contraband lading, and Kapitan Lieutenant Ludwig Bockholt saw her conducted into the Elbe, escorted by 2 German destroyers.
So they were scared big airship came down on them.
Well, yeah, when a Zeppelin comes out of nowhere and a bunch of angry Germans are pointing rifles at you from the lower decks, and you're a sailboat.
Oh, yes.
Like, schooners aren't big ships.
Comparatively to the Zeppelin, yeah, they are extremely small.
Oh, and hey, Ardenon. Ardenon Studios, everyone. Well, I think he's on mute. Might have stepped away.
Evening, folks. Evening, folks.
There he is. How are you?
Good to see you.
Good to be back online.
Oh, we're glad to have you. Sounds like you've been busy.
A little bit. Reconstructing Windows and reinstalling Linux. Just about there. Still have some grub issues that need to be addressed.
Yeah. I imagine that you could get a pretty good, pretty good business going in the safer parts of the world with Zeppelin cruise ships, basically.
So interestingly, that's why I have a Zeppelin planned for my second novel. I mean, it's a transatlantic Zeppelin voyage the characters need to take for other reasons, but the ostensible purpose of their voyage is R&R on a luxury Zeppelin cruise.
Interesting conversation of airships here.
Who doesn't like airships?
Concur. Absolutely.
Commies, that too.
Sad people, that's who.
Yeah, same thing.
Interesting discussion before I lost hard drive connectivity on my machine. I think it may have been on Twitter talking about Zeppelins. Is this what you guys are discussing?
Yes.
Okay. I thought it was rather interesting, and it made a lot of sense that a hydrogen fire is going to exhaust itself very quickly, and it's going to be moving upwards if the gas container bursts.
Oh, are we talking about how the Rockefellers had the Hindenburg sabotage because they were about to convert to a hydrogen-based turbine system as opposed to diesel?
I saw that as part of it. That was a consideration because they could bleed off the excess hydrogen, or any leaks could be directed into a hydrogen turbine. So I found that kind of interesting. It's kind of like hydrogen usually gets talked in terms of fuel cells, but again, you're dealing with fairly rare components for the catalytic or the not catalytic because it's consumable, but for the element that goes into a hydrogen fuel cell. But turning hydrogen into a hydride, like a powder, placing it inside a container, and then essentially rehydrating it, no pun intended, to produce the gas, is a very viable system. You don't have to have pressurized tanks to fill up your hydrogen car. You just have to have a powder delivery system and probably some water.
So that was also not merely an accident.
Oh, no.
Okay, excellent. That gives me some more plot points to play with too, once the airship gets closer to America.
Yeah, I'll see if I can send you some stuff on it. But basically, they had safety measures in place for precisely that reason. Which, for whatever reason, didn't work. The captain and crew insisted till the day they died that the ship had been sabotaged. The official explanation given was, a static spark or something, which had never
static
happened.
discharge. Yeah, it never happened before. I've heard that one before too. It's like there'd never been a static discharge on a Zeppelin landing.
Yeah, on the Hindenburg or her sister ship, which was much older and less safe.
Yeah.
Which was that the Graf Zeppelin?
I don't remember.
Yeah, the Graf Zeppelin,
Okay.
LZ-130. But yeah, and the fire spread far faster than it should have, even if the safety measures were taken.
Right.
Plus, you have they actually manipulated the media for it. You know, that famous clip of, Oh, the Humanity. Yeah, they dubbed screams into it. And it's actually two separate film sources which have been spliced together and poorly. It's just that everyone only knows that 3-second clip, so...
Yeah. This makes sense, actually. The sabotage we've seen of nuclear energy, which once again has had major advances in technology and safety, yet the horrors of accidents that have always been of every time, doesn't matter US, Japan, or Russia, of people not listening to the engineers and bad engineering leading to problems.
Oh no, even more than that. Like the thing that everyone talks about as being, the sterling example of what can go wrong, Chernobyl. Even though the design did permit an explosion to happen, and they hadn't they actually had a safety measure designed for it. They just hadn't implemented it for cost savings.
Right.
But even then, Chernobyl only basically the people who caused Chernobyl found the one way that it was physically possible for the plant to explode, and in order to do that, they basically had to do everything wrong for 8 straight hours and ignore every single safety procedure in the book.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Now, this isn't all that helpful to the argument, but you'll find out that any significant accident involving nuclear materials, it's been a process problem. In other words, people haven't followed the appropriate safety procedures. They've somehow circumvented them for purposes of saving time or saving effort. You can actually go download the most 20 significant nuclear materials accidents from, I believe it's Lawrence Livermore, and you'll find out every one of them is someone dodging a safety procedure or violating a protocol every time.
Yeah, and these days, correct me if I'm wrong, AA, but the latest nuclear plant designs are set up in such a way that even those can't really happen.
Yeah, as far as nuclear plants, third and even fourth generation, well, really fourth generation, but third and fourth generation reactors would obviate a lot of the issues that our current U.S. first generation systems use, and some of the first and second generations in Europe and elsewhere.
Yeah, like the RBMK reactor, the thing that caused Chernobyl.
Mhm.
Actually, a plant design that makes a lot of sense. Very nice design. And once they installed the safety upgrade, the one vulnerability of the system no longer applied. And I think that they still have operational RBMK reactors.
Yeah, I'd have to go take a look. I think most of them obviously are, well, I shouldn't say most of them. The ones that are most well known are the existing ones in Ukraine right now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Zaporozhye nuclear power plant. Right?
Yeah. Right. The interesting thing too, though, prior to Chernobyl, the lack of appropriate reporting on 3 Mile Island was something that irked me. The fact is that the meltdown happened, and the containment vessel did its job. It held the materials. There was melt through part of the containment vessel, but the containment vessel held. So keep hearing about, we prevented the meltdown. No, you didn't. One of the reactors melted down, and the precautions worked.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So there are still 11 RBMK reactors in use in Russia,
Mm-hmm.
and some of them were actually upgraded only a few years ago to extend the lifespan.
Right.
Right. Yeah. No. The big thing, like I think we gone down this path before, thorium salt reactors, but reality is the only thing truly bulletproof any reactor is to find a way to replace water as your coolant system. If you can do that and solve the boiling steam problem, it doesn't matter if you're using enriched uranium or thorium or whatever. You've solved the only thing you've had to engineer around and build safety measures for.
Or you
Void
use.
coefficient.
I'm sorry, I talked over you, Martel.
Oh, just by the steam problem. Do you mean the void coefficient or something else?
I think you're implying the void coefficient, meaning the steam explosion problem, if that happens.
Where steam increases reactivity?
Yeah, the feedback loop that caused the explosion that eventually did happen.
Right.
In Chernobyl. And even though it did hold and you had a meltdown and only...
When then they did the certain procedure, kaboom. But if you could replace the unique properties of water with a different coolant, you could get around that.
Well, from what I was reading, the workaround for the RBMK reactor was a combination of increasing the percentage of enriched uranium from 2 to 4% and then lowering the time on the RZ5 button from 19 to 12 seconds. And that basically solves the problem.
True.
But yeah, I take your point on the molten salt reactors.
Well, I mean, it's like the only way. It's like removing a moving part in a system. If you could remove a moving part, you would do it. And in water, not equivalent literally, but figuratively, it is like if you could remove the water dilemma and engineering around it, and water's unique, amazing principles, but in this case, it's problematic principles, then it'd be great.
We might actually see gas hitting $1 a gallon.
Well, and I think I still owe Martel a couple of references if I can dig them up on can-do reactors as well as the boron reaction systems that I was talking about. Essentially, a plasma system.
Yeah, you can send those my way.
Yep, I'll get those plugged into you. But the can-do reactor is another fascinating one because that's essentially the rationale for heavy water. The can-do reactors don't require a lot of fissionables because they use tritiated water instead of heavy water, deuterated and tritiated. I think it's primarily deuterated with U-238. So changing out the fuel cells are as simple as pushing a new cell from one end of the reactor, pushing out the old cell, and you've just, refueled the reactor.
Yeah, all this reactor talk turned me on to RTGs, and I've heard for a long time, I don't know where, but they're like it to maintain space exploration. They are the relative fuel answer. If you use particularly thorium, you'd be able to stop having to do the whole solar panel dance. Hell, we did just drop
RTGs?
Yeah, RTGs. We did just drop with the biggest SUV-sized drone on Mars. It's an RTG system because they finally wised up and realized our drones are lasting a lot longer than we thought. The solar panels was the reason we literally lost our way too successful Discovery and Curiosity. So how about we not have that be a problem this time?
Right.
So what is an RTG?
Emperor, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I have the Wikipedia pulled up. Radio isotope thermoelectric generator. There's a diagram, I'll link it and such, but the simplistic version is radioactive decay through some very engineering I know I need to learn more about, but the short story is isotope decay, you get electricity, have a good day, as long as you have the fuel, which in the applications done right, you'll have the fuel forever, because freaking Voyager has one of these. You just keep going.
It depends. So, depends on the fuel you pick. But you're right. It's a self-contained battery. Tends to be very low current output, but very consistent current output.
Right. But if you scale it up, and the one they did put in the big boy, you can get enough, particularly with our new efficiency, high motors, that we've increased efficiency on motors. You could literally make an SUV-sized drone on a 1/4 gravity planet work practically as long as you wanted fuel-wise.
Right. Classic one to look at for RTGs, which again is an accident, would be the Russian RTGs found by the Georgian woodcutters. There's 3 of them, I believe. They found the problem with when the Soviet Union broke up was a lot of these things became orphan sources. So one of these RTGs that was parked out in the middle of nowhere during the winter was discovered by a woodcutter, and darn thing's warm. We're freezing to death. So they huddled up around it. It was discovered that what it was after they returned and started experiencing some of the effects of the radiation dose, and it was a big IAEA project to extract the RTG afterwards. But yeah, they produce a fair amount of heat in many cases, especially if they're not properly shielded or shielded as well as they could, or someone's taken the shielding off.
Yeah, actually, The Martian, the author truly admits that he sort of the solar panels, such shenanigans that are done on the last trek towards the next mission launcher vehicle that they had staged so he could get off planet. The whole shenanigans with solar panels. He basically said, "Yeah, if I had an RTG system, yeah, this would have not happened." But but for plot writing and some legitimate excuse, he did have that in there.
So are these devices still using plutonium, or has the fuel changed?
Well, I'm not sure that plutonium was ever used in RTG. They tend to be a strontium. The ones I'm familiar with have been strontium, usually looking for a beta emitter, because number one, it's a particle which carries a lot of energy, and it generates heat as it's being slowed down. But I think that article that EmpReb posted can give you an idea about the different types of materials that get used in an RTG.
Yes, I will link it right now.
Yeah, apparently for Voyager it was they were using it. So
Oh, sorry. Alright,
for Voyager was plutonium. Okay.
Yeah. I'm actually looking at the rovers to see which one the new one is using.
Okay, so it's a Seebeck effect. Yeah, so you got a thermoelectric effect going on.
Yeah, different technology than what I was thinking.
But what are the common ones? I thought they had some of the ones. So, nope, but you're right. Plutonium 238, strontium 90, polonium, and americium 241. But each of those radioisotopic generators using those materials has a little bit different set of parameters just due to the decay of the material.
Yeah, so the Perseverance, which was based on the Curiosity slash, Curiosity was. I can't remember the other one that was with Curiosity at the same time, but they basically decided that design, like the wheelbase and everything of Curiosity and how well that thing just ran around. They said we need to do that again, but we need the power not to be an issue, because it came an issue long in the tooth. And it was way past mission specs, but it was like we lost a huge opportunity here.
So I guess my question would be, how efficient is it? How scalable is it? And how economic is it?
Well, it's not for your higher demand stuff, like what we would think for a lot of conventional electric stuff, but it's used, it seems, in quite a few satellites if it comes useful as a backup source or something. Like if you have the money and the access to the materials, it does seem like something that on the higher end scale you would use. But an argument for using it a lot and even developing Earthside ones around thorium in some extents, though some of the thoriums could be conventional thorium salt reactors. Well, not conventional, they're still not used at all beyond theory and test beds. But you could basically use it. I think I've heard a lot RTGs with, once again, thorium being something that you could have as like batteries lying around just ready to go, and it would be like a great way to accelerate the space economy, because you could just have multiple whatever devices you want ready to go with that, and just have solar as your backup or surplus power, not have to freaking rely on it as your primary power.
Weather-based power is rather stupid in some circumstances. In fact, many circumstances.
So interject for
Now-
a second. I found
Okay,
a
since
crystal
we're
that's
speaking
letting me inherit an ability. What do you guys think? Should I go with guild taking, steel hard, or charge plus 7 from Mustadio? First
How
two
often
are
does he
thief.
get into melee?
Like never, he's the guy with a gun.
Are you going to use any archer skills?
Well, the first two are thief skills, but
I mean, by process of elimination, do you actually need a way to take Gil?
no.
Then heart stealing is probably the one
Yeah.
that you would use if you ever use it.
I would say so too. That it just that 10% of the time when it works could be a game changer there.
Okay, any dissenters?
That's like a charm ability.
Yeah. Yeah, it can turn enemies to your side for a limited time.
Oh. That's incredibly useful.
I think that's probably the best of the lot, because charge you tend to use either the short one or the really long one, not the in betweens.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be fair, charge, I think
Yes.
if you equip it as a secondary ability, like you're not an archer, I think you can charge any attack, melee or ranged, but it has a long windup, especially charge 7.
Hmm.
And
But
it's
if
not...
you're able to keep the enemy from hitting while it charges.
True. On your glass cannon or artillery piece character, it would be useful.
Yeah, and it in my experience, charging doesn't really add that much damage. So,
Well, then I think we're looking at Steel Heart.
agreed.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep, I think so.
So on our reactor thing, I decided to get a little bit of the particular RTG they used on Opportunity, and it ironically correlates with what some science fictions have for how you have always your, say, fusion reactor running, humming in the background, but then you have capacitors that allow you to discharge much faster and put out much more damaging whatever you're doing or outputs. And the MMRTG on this one feeds into lithium polymer batteries that can handle conventional electrical motors demands. But then it just sits and slows down, and the RTG then recharges the lithium polymer capacitors effectively to do that again. So the RTG is sort of like the fictional fusion reactor we have in mecha or other sci-fi that allow your weapons to then go berserk and pull a bunch of power from the capacitors. So it seems the RTG can be used to stack on top of more conventional batteries to get better effect.
Okay, I'm not
The
sure.
RTG advantage is just continuous power without refueling.
I'm not sure exactly what they want me to do here. I'm supposed to throw switches, but like I thought that just positioning one of my guys in each one, because I'm pretty sure like that and that are the switches. They don't seem to be doing anything.
We have a puzzle.
I've tried standing on them. I've tried attacking them. Oh, there we go. Okay, I don't know why that didn't work before. Whatever. Oh, apparently Reinhard has to be the one to do it.
Well, main character privilege.
Yeah, he's got to do both of them. And it's really inefficient. Just making me waste a bunch of moves. Okay, bad design of Final Fantasy Tactics. It's the one time you've dropped the ball.
Write them a stern letter.
Oh. I'll do better than that. I'll write a blog post that'll just wreck their company. Squaresoft. Well, Squaresoft's name will be Mud.
Out of curiosity, did this come out before or after the Spirits Within?
Before.
Speaking about wrecking SquareSoft.
Yeah, it was before. This was 97. I think Spirits Within was 2000.
Okay.
Someone in chat can correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep.
The movie would have been fine if they just
I
called
would
it
say.
Spirits Within and not Final Fantasy. Don't you think?
Kind of like the 90s anime there too.
There was
Yeah.
a 90s anime.
Yeah, it was loosely based on
Yeah,
Final
look it
Fantasy
up.
V.
Well, there was the OAV and there was the television series. I'm trying to find that now that I've Final Fantasy Unlimited. So, if you haven't heard of it, you're not really missing much.
The OAV was okay. Oh, and we're rescuing
Yeah, the
Sid.
OAV was.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, that was a continuation of 5, wasn't it?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, well, as much as any as much as any adaptation it can be. Yeah.
There was one killer line from the main villain near the end. It says, "You thought the truth would be beautiful. You didn't think it would look like me." And of course, he's just this abstract mess.
Ooh.
Naturally.
Actually, I was just looking up Spirits Within. I did see it, and I remember wanting to just see it because it was at the time. No, though I saw it way later, like a lot of stuff. Supposedly one of the best looking CGI, but the one CGI film that I found I liked was, I think, the Captain Harlock CGI film.
Oh yeah.
And from what I understand about that one, they purposely were burning money because they could. They said, we want to make a crazy film. We got, literally, it was not they negotiated people to give them money. No, just the people who gave them the $53 million to make the film wanted to just burn money. They just wanted to see what they could do. It was like that absurd.
It's a shame they didn't spend more of it on the writing.
Yeah, it was kind of a big thing contest, and they didn't quite focus on the more important things.
'Cause, I don't know, the Captain Harlock in that movie does not really resemble the character in the show.
No.
Gorgeous looking movie though.
Yeah, like I said, from Understand, it was literally, they just wanted to see what they could do, and they had gotten $53 million of 2012 to 2013 to just burn. And so they did
Actually,
it.
makes me angry. Just gonna imagine what could have been done with $53 million.
Wait, $53 million or 53 million yen?
Okay, no, I might have been a little off. It had 30 million US dollars. And if I understand, it was pretty much they didn't expect to make it back. It was like they just knew they weren't. I think they have at this point, but it was like they were burning money, just to burn money.
So for 30 million, we got what? Serenity and Harlock. Then I think the Japanese got the better one.
Serenity was a good movie.
Yeah, I think Joss Whedon kind of wrecked his playground in that one, though. I think.
Yeah, I do wonder, thinking the more we learn about Josh Whedon, that the Fox guy actually, the Fox president, everybody blames the Fox president for it, but actually, did Whedon actually have problems that the Fox president knew about and that they weren't making money? And it was like going, no, this is just not worth it. You're a problem, and also you didn't make money, so I can't have an excuse on this.
Well, I don't know, but I do know that we just got
Probably,
TG
but-
Sid. Look at that.
Nice.
Nice.
It comes with Excalibur.
Mm. Shoot. Holy swordsman. That just sounds perfect.
Yep, he has every sword skill in the game. Just wanted to point that out.
Kind of
Anyway,
like having a mini X-Seed helping you out.
oh, we're gonna get to that. You'll see. He has had a party. Remember that? Oh, you weren't here for that last night.
Now you're making me feel like
Yeah.
last night.
Oh, that rumor about the mysterious metal sphere on that island to the north. We're going for that soon.
Interesting.
That sounds interesting.
Oh, another delete a scene to cap off the night.
Ah, he's continuing his rise. That's not a good idea. What? And he does it.
I was gonna say, I'm noticing a red theme in this
That's
room.
twice tonight. Someone. Yes, I've also noticed a theme of someone going "what" and then stabbing fingers into him.
Nobody's wants you to be king. Is he a mook?
Nobody's
Oh,
wants
no,
you to be king.
Nobody's wants you to be king.
I actually think that would actually work.
Now break his camera.
Strangely, in some weird accent.
Like Pittsburgh.
That sploosh of blood. That art sploosh of blood. That's like Tarantino or something. Just like boosh.
Okay, so this is where GRRMM got the idea, huh? Just looking at this, as you say, very redly decorated meeting room here.
Talking to corpses, aren't we now?
Gravados is playing Sid in tonight's episode.
Oh no.
Oh my!
Twofer.
I guess the the chick is obviously okay with all this.
She's not okay with anything.
and he wants Reinhardt to clean up the mess. That's devious.
Yeah.
Reinhardt will be calling Serve Pro.
Yep, so both leaders taken out. So High Priest was proposing peace talks. Oh, but they refused. So the armies are fighting
How
on.
did they refuse? How are they still strong? They lost how many?
Well, earlier it said
Who's
that we
controlling these armies? They
Well,
lost
we-
their leaders.
minimized the losses by opening the floodgate. So the casualties were drastically reduced.
Oh no.
Yeah.
So you encouraged more fighting by reducing casualties. That's just brilliant.
Oops. Oh, and here we go. We open the
We
way.
didn't lose anyone, so we should now fight more to lose. Oh,
yeah.
No.
Yeah.
We've still got troops to throw into the meat grinder.
But yeah, and Delita
We're not
is
done yet.
Delita and I think Dice Darg are leading the armies now. And by the way, as Argaides trade city, that's where we find Eris, so we need to go there and buy a flower from her. And that's the next step to getting Cloud. Although, it's interesting that the pathway up here disappeared. We're going to have to hope that comes back. Or I might have to backtrack a bit. But I bet it will. We're gonna check that. Then we'll wrap it up. So I'm doing this. Can I get a volunteer to look through chat for anything we missed?
Can says that this story can't be written by GR. But there's not consensual in this.
And
Got it.
Megabuster was commenting on how Nixon was trying to push for the increase in nuclear power to reduce dependence on foreign oil back in the 70s.
I will say for that end of the conversation, history doth rhyme again.
Indeed. Well, as they say, only Nixon could go to China.
Now, I do have a question for you, AA. Because we
Okay.
had that conversation
There
a
we
while
go.
back about the proposal to put an array of satellites in heliocentric orbit and use masers to beam the energy to Earth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, essentially a solar satellite array.
Yeah. Now, how workable would that be?
Well, if you had spaceplane to maintain it, we could probably do it with pretty much the technology we have today. There's transparent solar satellite material, or it's transparent solar cell material that would pass most light other than some UV bands, which is where you're going to be getting most of your energy anyway. I did some back-of-the-envelope calculations at one point, and about 4 square miles of something that's 10% efficient would give you 15 quads of energy, which is roughly the amount of energy the Earth uses right now.
You're joking.
No.
So
That-
you're
There's
talking.
a lot of energy up there.
Yes, but only 4 square miles.
Yeah, about 4 square miles.
At 10% efficiency.
But you're saying that that's in heliocentric, right?
You'd probably position them in geocentric orbit, but you might be able to do something different depending on how you dealt with building the receivers. Satellites might be on, might be off for a period of time, and then turn back on again.
Geo's probably too crowded for that.
Probably.
Unless unless we all go to the like Starlink and that
Mhm.
type of communications, but maybe parking something in uh,
It's
parking
what
something in the sol
Lagrange
Sun
points.
Sun Earth L1 maybe or
Mhm.
something.
Yeah.
I think that's why the proposal is for heliocentric, because it's, and this was an ambitious proposal that I saw, basically envisioned getting an entire orbital circle's worth of solar arrays in.
Well, there's a Gundam called Double O that literally has most of the plot happening right after a space elevator ring at a geosynchronous orbit gets turned on online, and basically everyone who funded the space elevator ring is benefiting hugely from basically the huge unlimited energy now.
Mhm. Well, and again,
Alright.
this isn't something that is all that new. One of the early, well, at least early in the timeline for not Arthur C. Clarke, for Isaac Asimov's I, Robot stories, has two protagonists investigating why something's gone wrong with the robot managing a solar satellite system that, if it isn't managed properly, could devastate sections of the populated areas of Earth because the beam is misdirected.
Okay. Well, on that note, I've got to call
This
it
was
here
like
because
40s or 50s.
yeah, sorry to cut you off. You guys can continue talking about this off stream, but I've got to go. I've got to continue working for your entertainment and the chats. But I want to thank everyone for joining us on the St. Patrick's Day. Thanks to my panel. Thanks to everybody in chat and everyone listening to the replay. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the bell icon. Tune into the regular Geek Gab show on Saturdays with the Door and All Daddy Warpig. Make sure to check out Combat Frame Exceed role-playing game, where if you want, you could have your own mecha involved in the 100 Years' War, or even Zeppelins. I believe you could make Zeppelins with those rules. Yeah, pretty sure. But anyway, for Geek Gab Retrospective, this has been Brian, and my panel tonight has been
Ardon Studios.
Kath Glancer.
Emperor.
Marto.
And the Pulp Archivist.
Thanks, gentlemen, and remember, everybody, gaming is better